All right, we're going to get this webinar here kicked off. Looks like a few people are joining us. Good. Looks like some people still coming in here. Thanks for everyone showing up. Looks like we've got Sam, we've got Pat, Gary. All right, some people joining us. Brittany. Hey, Brittany. We talked last week. Nice to see you on here. All right, great. Yeah, so thanks for joining us. I'll go ahead and get started. If anyone's just joining us, this little session here is really about growing your business. So we titled it, I'm growing too quickly and I really can't handle running the show. So how can I get help there? So before we jump in, really the focus of this webinar is how you as a business owner or manager can really automate the route planning process and the operations that go behind that, so you can set up a system for a dispatcher to take over. So we're going to quickly plan a route from a spreadsheet. There are other ways to plan a route, but we're just going to quickly show you how easy it is to do. And then we're going to show you how to delegate that work to a dispatcher, how they can create teams, how they can monitor all the details, while you can also have a really good overview as what is happening, as well as your manager can. So really this is focused around, delegating the workload, from your plate, because your business is growing. I'm sure you have a lot of demand. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So we're at routeforme.com, and I'm already logged in here, so all I do is click into my account home here. And first things first, we're just going to plan a route real quick. So you can see on this screen it looks a little blank. This is what is called the routes list screen. So all we're going to do is plan a route. We don't have any current routes in this, so all we do is go over here to the icon on the left. I call this the blue home bar. All of the icons are very easy to use and navigate. So in terms of training a dispatcher, of course, we offer training, setup, and support, so you won't be alone on that. But very simple and easy to use. A lot of people can just figure out the system on their own, but we don't leave you alone. So basically, we're going to click Plan New Route. Once we click that, it takes us to a few options. Of course, there's multiple ways to get data into the system, all of the addresses that you'll need to be visiting, but we're just going to quickly upload a file. So once we come to this, really we're basically given a few options. We need to name the route. Of course, we can name it whatever we want. We can populate Wednesday, the 11th of January, or we can say, hey, this is Bob's route, whatever it is. So I'll just leave it as Wednesday 11th. And if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat comment or anything like that. I'll probably save them for later at the end, or you can raise your hand on the webinar here. So just throw your questions into there. That'd be helpful. So you can schedule the start date and the start time, as well as a service time per stop. Now, if you have different service times at each individual stop, that would be in your actual spreadsheet file. So that's not a problem at all. This is a 1-minute service time at each stop, so very short, very short. Let's see, we can share the routes to our email. I'll be showing you later on how to actually assign the route. Sharing is different than assigning. Now, distance. You have to be really careful here, because a lot of optimizations, a lot of times you have to be careful and know what people are saying. Now, straight line optimization is as the crow flies. This is really not that efficient, because obviously in the real world we make left-hand turns, we make right-hand turns. There are all kinds of things going on. We don't go straight to a distance like a plane would fly straight. So drive time optimization is really important. So make sure that you have that, or at least as an option. Then the optimization. So let's just review that really quickly. There's a couple of different options here. Single driver route. So it's really just creating one single route. So ultimately, we're going to create one route, and it's going to say however many stops you have, I'll put them in the most efficient order. And then I'll end the route at your preferred location. So in this case, it would be round trip, but you can end the route at the last address or end the route at any address. So I'll have this one be round trip. So the other optimization types you have available are balanced team route. So let's say you have multiple drivers and you say, hey, I've got all of my stops for the day and I've got my 5 drivers. I want to split this into 5 routes. And basically, you upload all of your stops, select 5 or however many parts or routes you want to create, and the system will create the 5 most efficient routes on a balanced load. So basically, there will be somewhat equal sub-routes in terms of number of addresses. Now, one step beyond that is going more efficient, is to actually let the system decide. So basically what you're doing is putting all the data in, like the service time at each stop. We're going to calculate the drive time between all the stops, and you just feed in data. So for example, you might say, hey, I have a maximum route duration, meaning I don't want any route to be greater than 8 hours. And I have a maximum number of routes or vehicles available is 10. Now, it doesn't matter if you put in 99 here. It doesn't mean it's going to create 99 routes. What it's going to do is create the fewest routes possible given all of the parameters like maximum route duration, the service time, the drive time between everything, if you have any time windows at a specific location. So this will create the fewest number of routes possible. Looks like Brittany asked a question. Brittany asked a question in chat. She said, "What if I don't have enough routes or vehicles?" So, good question. So if you say, "Hey, I've got 5," and the system says, "Hey, we can't do it in 5," it will do its best to plan, and then it will give you an additional route with a message that says, we're unable to get to these particular stops. So basically it will kind of tell you that this is impossible, but we're tried our best here. So you can go back and actually change the parameters, and maybe you say, hey, maybe the maximum route duration needs to be changed to 10 or something like that. Or you can change the service times. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. Of course, there's avoidance zones, directions, you can navigate by time, distance, current time with traffic, and then different travel modes or any restrictions you want to put on it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create the route, and we'll go ahead and just upload the file. I can just drag a file in here, and it will display your file to you. Make sure that you match up your column headers. Very simple and easy to do. You can see if you click on any of these, all of the various custom headers will come up. Or sorry, not custom. All of the various stock headers will come up. So this one's alias. We use that to name an address, but you can see there's phone number, customer PO, service time, time windows, a lot of different fields to choose from as well. Okay, so let's continue to review. We go through a very simple process. In this case, it found every single address, 58 addresses. So this is a geolocation process. So ultimately what we're doing is taking your addresses and converting them to a highly accurate GPS latitude and longitude coordinate. So if it gives a green light, we're highly confident that's the correct location. You can see on the map these are the locations. Of course, if you actually know a certain location, you might want to put in the GPS coordinates. You can always move these around on the map and say, hey, you can zoom in and say it's actually on this corner. You can move them around, or you can just insert GPS coordinates as well. So if there are any addresses to review, you'll see a little tab up here with a yellow tab that says, hey, we need to review these. The system will make suggestions, or you can edit that to make sure you have the right address. And the same for any addresses that are not found. You get a little red flag, and you cannot continue until you fix the red ones. So, anyone have questions with that? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so all we'll do is we'll click Finish Import and let the system do the rest. Okay, so in this case, it actually only planned one route for us. So given the service time and the proximity of the locations and the actual time route duration I inputted for the route, it basically said, okay, we can go ahead and perform this route with just one driver. So thereby reducing the amount of workload, number of drivers, everything like that. So you can see how fast and easy that process is. Of course, I spent some time explaining it, but once you're once your dispatcher or whoever you're going to train, an assistant, whoever's in the office there, I mean, they can run through this, very, very quick. So it's very, very easy. So I want to go ahead and switch to the address book and very quickly show you how to plan routes from there. So the address book is a different feature. So if I go to my blue home bar here, I've got the address book list and the address book map. So if I pull up the list very quickly, you can see that I've already preloaded this with a lot of information, basically the various stops that I have. I can plan routes from the list, so I can just either search and say, hey, I need store 100. I can search by phone number. All of the information is searchable. I can select from the list and then just click the little plan route with selected button. So that's one way to plan routes. You can also go to the address book map. So anything in your address book list will show up as a pinpoint on the map. And you can actually just circle them, circle the ones you would like, and actually plan a route from there. And of course, you can create territories, create search groups, anything like that. I think we'll go into more details, or if you have questions at the end, just save those for the end and I can show you that. But I'll go ahead and just plan a route from here, show you how easy it is, and say, oh, we're going to split it right down the middle, whatever reason. I can create a custom shape, and now I've created a custom shape. Maybe I want to actually change that, move it around, whatever it is, or if I say, hey, I want to add to that, I want to add, these two stops for whatever reason. The system's very flexible, and then basically we just click File and Plan Route with Selected, and it takes us to that same screen we saw before. Make sure that our settings are correct. It will save your previous settings and click Create Route. So in this case, maybe we want to change the optimization to a single driver route, round trip. Let's create the route. Oh, it tells me, of course, I need to enter a departure address. So I can either type it in or I can select one of the locations here. So this one's actually depot. So let's go ahead and create that one. And now the optimization runs. And depending on the complexity, the number of routes being planned, the number of stops, should plan, most routes will plan within 30 seconds, if not shorter. I think that was less than 10 seconds. And you can see there. But if you ever have an issue, please reach out to our support. We're always happy to help. You can click this little question mark button here, click on support, or you can also reach out to live chat. So you can call us, email us. We're always available. So, okay, so that was pretty easy. You can see that we've planned the routes. Now the question is how to get managers, to actually delegate this and get it to the assistants, the dispatchers, whoever's actually going to be taking over that work. So let's see here. Really what we want to do, we can do it from this screen as well. I think it's just easier to show you from the routes list. You'll notice that there's no save buttons. All of the routes are always saved, so they're always there for you. You're never going to have an issue with them. Of course, you can delete routes, but we double prompt you to make sure that you actually want to delete something. But from here, it's very, very simple. I think first, probably it might make sense before I delegate these over. Let's create a user. So what we're going to do is go ahead and create a user. So we go to the Team tab over here. Let's go to Users. You can see that we've already got some users in here. So maybe driver 2 is actually a driver. We can modify that user or add a sub-user. So in this case, I think it would be great to actually modify this user. And let's just say, hey, this person's actually now in the office. They're going to be planning the routes for me. Let's change their user type to a dispatcher. So now the user role and access options have changed. So you can see that we can give them access to different things. So if we want to give them access to a global address book, we can. We can let them see all drivers. We can. See all vehicles. Max routes future days. We can just leave that blank if we want. So basically we can change the user fields to make sure that all of the users have the proper amount of access privileges. Okay. So once we've created our drivers, we have the drivers now under the dispatcher in the correct one, so they'll be able to see that. But basically all that happens now is, now that it's all set up, we go to our routes, we go to our routes list, we plan the routes as you saw earlier, and now we just need to assign the routes. So for example, we just click the button to assign user, and we search by username, or we can press down, the down key for the full list. We'd say, okay, this is for driver 3. Very good. It might have someone's name there. Of course, you can have name, you can have whatever you want there. You click apply, and now you can see that it's assigned to that user. So now the user can actually pull up that information on our free mobile device, pull up the route, do anything that they need with that, and basically get a living, breathing manifest from there. So basically they have the list view, the map view, and then they can get navigation directions to their preferred navigation app, like Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze app, at the touch of a button. So that can be covered in another time, the mobile aspect. I think we're going to do a webinar on that here shortly, so make sure you're signed up for that. And of course, we do include onboarding and training for your users, so we can go with that, go through all of that with you personally. So, all right, so that's pretty much it. I think once you have this, you're going to have complete visibility into the route planning activity on both kind of the micro and macro levels. So really, once something happens, for example, let's go into this route. And what I'll do is I'll just open up the activity feed here in a separate tab. Go ahead, open link a new tab. And before I do anything with this particular route that we've already assigned to a driver, you can kind of see the activity feed here on the right, which you can turn on and off if you'd like, through this very simple button here called Map Settings. Other things you can turn on and off as well. But the activity feed is very straightforward. You can see that the route was optimized. The route owner was changed from admin 1 to driver 3, so that's when they were assigned. And so we're basically going to see that the directions were prepared, everything was done. So you can also see the activity feed on another screen here. So if you can see analytics, and then go to the activity feed, you can filter by member, filter by type, filter by date. If you click on any one of these, it will take you into the actual route. So if a driver checks in, adds a note, anything like that from our mobile app, it will appear here. As well as tracking data as well. So the driver will you can actually see the tracked route of the driver. Obviously, I can't show you that right now because we just created this route and the driver didn't go out and drive this in the last 2 minutes that I've been talking. Okay, so to show you the activity feed, let's go to the first stop. The driver, for example, from the mobile device would mark an address as visited, so I'll just go ahead and manually mark it from our side. You can see that the address was marked as visited from the web interface. You would see that from either the iPhone or Android when they're in the field. So the activity feed comes along and will show you all of the information that's happening on the route and keep that stored for you as well. So you'll always be able to jump in, see the individual routes, and you can also get a macro view and from some other views to kind of see what's happening with those particular routes. So I'll kind of jump in and show you that real quick. Go to the routes list here. If you want a big picture overview, make sure your business is running. You've already outsourced this essentially to a dispatcher or an assistant. You can say, hey, I want to view the operation matrix with routes, with the selected routes, or routes scheduled for today. So you can log in yourself even while your dispatcher is doing the work, and you can see, in this case, we've only got 2 routes. One hasn't even started, and we've got quite a few routes on here. One has started. The driver did check in, or there was a check-in, which we did manually from the web. You can see that they're actually behind schedule. So they're in red. So that's an opportunity for you to say, hey, what's going on in my business? We're behind schedule. I want to make sure that we get all of this taken care of on time. Do you need to jump in? Or do you need to bring in some more resources to jump in, or have someone else jump in? So a lot of different ways to use a tool, but ultimately it's very fast, very easy to get set up. All of the information is going to be there, so you can take a live look, or you can also look back in history to kind of make sure everything ran smoothly. Because obviously your business is growing, you're not going to be able to micromanage or spend the time needed to do every little thing. Your time is best spent elsewhere. So, okay, with that, I'll go ahead and open up the chat. Maybe if someone wants to jump in on the phone. Does anyone have any questions in the chat? Looks like, and if you want to, jump on the phone, I'll enable your microphone. Just raise your hand. There was a question earlier. Looks like Gary said, can you prevent drivers from seeing all of their routes at one time? Yes, good question, Gary. That would be done in the users section, so I'll just show you that very quickly. You go to a user, so for example, we've got driver 2, which we actually made a dispatcher. We should name them dispatcher. So I'll go to driver 1. Their user type is a driver. We can click hide non-future routes, meaning hide past routes. So they'll only see routes that are scheduled for them with a scheduled for date in the future. And then we've got the max routes for future days. So we can say, hey, we only want them to see, 1 day into the future. So when they go on the mobile app, you assign them a route. You click the button to assign them a route. They open up the mobile app. They'll only see routes that are scheduled for 1 day in the future. Of course, if you can say, hey, give them 5 days, whatever it is. But you can make it very simple. Oops, not 12. Make it very simple. So does that answer the question? Yes. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. You're welcome. No problem, Gary. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you add anything special to the route? Say my driver needs special information for a route. Is there anything you can do for that?
Yeah, sure. So let's see here. So I'll just go into the route and show you how to do it manually. You can do it from the spreadsheet you upload or from the data source that you bring in. So you might have an integration or a connection, with your ERP or CRM or something like that. We do have a nice Zapier app. If you don't know what that is, it connects a lot of different apps together. But yeah, you can do it in the spreadsheet file. You can do it here. You can add a custom piece of data. So for example, if I just manually add this, I can say like special directions. I can name it whatever I want. Gate code is 1234. Let's go ahead and add that custom data. Now that it's added, the driver will have access to that. So, and it actually happens and pushes live. So if you made that change and the driver's already out there, it's already there. So you can see we have custom data, special directions, gate code is 1234. If you need to change it, 1235, go ahead and change it. So it actually updates not only on the web, but also updates on the driver's mobile device. Okay. And another question just came in via chat. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Who just jumped on the phone? Jumped on. I want to make sure that answered the question.
Yep,
So
that answered my question.
Oh, perfect. Great. All right. Someone chatted in. Can you reuse a route, or do you have to plan a route every time? No. So a lot of routes are reusable in a lot of business models. All you have to do is grab the route. You can select it here, or you can click the little gear icon, and you can just duplicate it. So we can just duplicate the route, and it's going to essentially copy the route and create the route for us. So, you can see it's already created it, and we've duplicated it, but you might want to go in and change the settings. So in this case, you might want to change the scheduled for date. You might want to rename it or change the scheduled for date, as you can see here. All right, another question. Can you add or remove a stop from a route? Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into this route. If we need to add a stop in, there's multiple ways to add one stop or multiple stops. So if you say, hey, I need to add one stop, I can just click add addresses. I can upload a file. I can copy and paste, anything like that. If I click add addresses, I can just manually type them in, or I can even right click on the map. So as we're in Miami, go ahead and say Miami, just a random one here. You can see that it's actually pulling the data from our address book and searching our address book. So for example, in parentheses, it says store 145. That's because I've actually already put this into my address book. So I can quickly grab that data if I have it in my address book. Or I can say, hey, add the nearest valid address or add this exact location. So once you add them into the system, it just, again, updates immediately to the driver. So, okay, I think that about covers it, so we'll just go ahead and wrap this up. It doesn't look like there's any more questions. I just want to thank everyone for being on today. If you have further questions, please reach out to us. If you haven't started a free trial, go to route4me.com, start a free trial. There's no credit card required, and we're happy to help. Please reach out to support for any help you might need. And stay tuned if you have questions on any of the other functionalities. We've got lots of webinars, lots of videos, and of course, we'd be willing to help you personally. We're happy to help. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.